Right, 3 weeks on since my last walk, and I'm back on the road, literally today, or in fact a train, just like the old days. And I'm down in Kent at this place called Leigh to undertake a approximately 11.5 mile walk, which I last did 12 years ago in March 2010. Can you believe that? 12 years on. And nobody else has covered the walk since with a video, so it's one of the mobile phone ones I did back in the day that needs updating, and I intend to do that now while we got extra daylight, and when I get my new rail card next month I'm going to travel a bit further afield. So this is a Leigh to Tunbridge Wells walk. It's country walking, Time Out Country Walks, Book 1, Walk 15. Me got a fairly average day today, quite cloudy, quite warm though, around 18, 19, and no rain forecast, which is the main thing. So yeah, not a bad day for walking. So let's crack on. It's about 12:10 now. Let's see what awaits. And that's the oast house conversion referred to in the text. Paul's Oast House. Classic scenery down here in Kent. Okay, having come up this lane from the station, about 150 yards of walking, we're now going to join the Eden Valley walk up here on the right, past Paul's Hill House. And of course, one of the problems that I'm going to encounter today that's very different to when the walk was written is traffic. There's a lot more of it with people working from home now, etc., and it being Easter holidays on these quiet country lanes. So comparing now with 12 years back will be quite interesting. The old chiff-chaffs are abundant, as you can hear. Wonderful. Bluebells are starting to come out in abundance now. A lot happens in 3 weeks during my absence. So we're now onto this Bridal Way and into the countryside proper. Lovely primroses and celandines, are they? Now entering the Penshurst Estate, if you can make that out. Decent vista back towards Leigh and the railway station. It's taken me around 2 hours to get down here today, which I wouldn't have been able to do so easily back in the day when I was living in London. But thanks to the Thameslink service now, change London Bridge, and Bob's your uncle. North Downs in the background there. So about to follow the avenue of plane trees referred to in the text, which I won't be using much after now, simply because I'm using the GPX track. Nuthatch over there somewhere. Wonderful. So as you can see, we're following a number of trails here. Penshurst Estate Trail, Penshurst Estate Parkland South Guided Trail, and footpath 423 by the looks of it. Walking past Plantation at the moment, which, as you can see from the branches, is dead still today, and that was a problem over the last 3 weeks. March ended like a lion, certainly too windy for filming. That was the issue. We did have some bright days, but I wouldn't have been able to record anything. Anyway, let's press on and make the most of what I can do today. And clearly, with it being the Easter holidays, there are a lot more people around than I would normally encounter. I do believe that's the house over there on my left. And since I was last out, the old white throats, I think it's a lesser, have appeared. Just about managed to hear it there, below the chiff chaff. Wonder if I'll hear a cuckoo today. A victim of the recent winds. The Sydney oak. You can read all about that on Google. Something else I wouldn't have been able to refer to 12 years back. Quite amazing actually. Not much of it left, mind. So there is the house, Penshurst Place, which again you can Google. And on my right there, memories of World War II. The old pillbox. Passing the cricket pitch. The old sheep have got the right idea, reflecting how warm it is today. Lovely. I wasn't expecting this weather, to be honest. Once again, the Met were wrong, indicating a cloudy afternoon today. There is cloud up there, but you know, I can live with that if we're getting the sun. Passing the perimeter of the house with the church coming into view, and I must admit I don't remember much of this walk at all thus far, which in a way is a good thing. Haven't yet got the name of this church, but I will. Yep, it's coming back to me now. Do believe I had lunch in one of those two seats earlier on a different walk that involved this church. Interesting inscription. My flesh also shall rest in hope. Interesting feature here called a dole table. One of the few of its kind to survive, apparently. And I now know it's St John the Baptist Church. So in the past I've gone down there, done a walk straight through that way, but today we're continuing on down the lane for a bit, leaving these houses with their interesting inscriptions behind us. Crossing over what I believe is the Medway. Some lovely collections of mistletoe there. Don't see that around so much these days. Certainly not up my way. Rest Park has a good collection. That's a walk that I haven't done for the North Arts Ramblers yet. So next to this house called Hollybank, you do a right, continue on. Plenty of jet noise down here today. Little lambs are coming on at a rate of knots. Soon be on someone's dinner table, unfortunately. Leaving Penshurst behind us. Scenery on my right as I leave it. Another recent burrow there. Badger likely, I would guess. Just past this marker post, turn off right towards the river and cross that bridge. The old chaffinch in the background. Chiff chaff I can hear. Robin and great tit. So compared to my last walk out in the fens, which was absolutely sterile really, very different down here because of the small fields, hedges and trees. Lovely white flowers. Forgotten their name as well. Every year I ask the same question, every year I get told, and every year I forget. Wonderful. Do believe there's a black cap in there somewhere. The northern nightingale. Of course he's stopped singing now. They've also returned from pastures warmer. He's moved off in the distance now. Over the Medway again, on this narrow footbridge. Another pillbox hidden in the undergrowth there. And another over on my right. Brings Ukraine to mind, doesn't it? Unfortunately, war's still going on. The wild garlic's just coming out. Not in abundance, but it's just starting. Now unfortunately we've got a bit of road walking up to Smarts Hill, which is where the lunchtime pub options are. No church option for me today, not unless I leave it for a chapel, which I don't think has any seats in anyway. So I'll make a judgment when I get to the top of this road. So if you go left, you go to the suggested lunchtime stop, the Spotted Dog. But I'm not going to bother with that today because unlike 12 years ago, you can Google, get an image of the pub these days. The alternative is the Bottle House to my right, which likewise I won't be visiting or filming because again, Google helps with that these days. But I will be turning right because that's the onward journey anyway, and continuing. We're about 1.5 hours into the walk now, so I've still got time possibly to reach that chapel. Let's see. Now walking down the recently tarmacked Nunnery Lane. Very pleasant bit of lane walking this is as well. Nunnery Lane. Sun's gone in, which is a bit ominous. Temperature drops when it does. It's about 19 here at the moment. Decent vista on my left as I descend Nunnery Lane. Today's heights range from around mid-80s feet to upper 300s. Give you some idea of what we're dealing with. And where I've just left was around the 300 mark. There is the Nunnery, somewhere yonder. What an amazing bit of natural artwork that is. Tree roots growing into the rock. Don't know if it's green sand here or what, but give me that any day over man-made workings. Yet another pillbox over there on my right. Onward journey somewhere over there, passing under those transmission wires at some point. Passing an oxbow here in the river. I'm sure I remember more cattle last time I did this walk. Certainly still a lot of sheep around, which makes sense. Particularly as sheep's wool seems to be back in vogue. I've certainly recently acquired a duvet made from sheep's wool and a throw, and I'm going to get some of those balls that you put in your tumble dryer to try and save a bit of money. But yeah, during the last 12 years, obviously milk would have gone off the menu for a lot of people, and maybe there aren't as many cattle around, which certainly doesn't worry me any. Wonderful. Another lovely oast up there. Chiff chaffs in the background. Wonderful. Mid-April. Shame I missed 3 weeks, mind you. Lots going on in those 3 weeks. Don't like missing spring at all. Looks like a couple of bird boxes there to be put up somewhere. And there's yet another pillbox. Certainly a lot of them still knocking around in Kent, as you'd likely expect, I guess, being the first part of the UK that would have been invaded, I suppose. Just on the fringes of Poundsbridge, where I plan having my lunch. So, as I suspected, cattle have been in these fields, but not for a long, long time. Pretty certain that when I walked this section, there was plenty of cattle around. So, looks like those boxes were for bats. Very interesting. I wonder what variety. The Bentons, because it's down near the river. Good show anyway. There is the small chapel at Poundsbridge, and I do spy one seat. So my luck might be in. So 6.5 miles in, we reach All Souls Chapel, Poundsbridge. There are actually 3 or 4 seats in this chapel cemetery, so ideal position for the 11.5 miles or so of this walk. I'm going to take this one in memory of Ian Paul King. Died in 2006, not long before I did the walk, 4 years in fact, but I don't remember this place. Anyway, as I say, it's good timing. Just gone 2:30, so just over 2 hours walking so far, 2.5 hours. Lunch is served. So 3:15, lunch has been had, and this is the All Souls Chapel, and that was the lunchtime view from my seat, which I think is far better than anything that could be offered in Smarts Hill. North Downs in the background there. Plenty of bird song, as you can hear. What more could you ask for? I guess I could ask for the transmission wires to be removed. That's about the only downside I could find. Anyway, let's press on. 5.5 more miles to go. From the chapel, now follow this quiet lane. Pretty impressive house here in Poundsbridge, which I have filmed previously on my little 6-minute mobile phone clip 12 years back. Just ahead of Stone Wood here on the map. Nice little pond. Interesting noise coming from that bank. Ah, there it is. It's a heron. Grey heron. Warning note. Very well disguised. Can't even find him now. Yeah, so well disguised I can't find him. There you go. Look at that for disguise, eh? Wonderful. Never heard that warning note before. Gave himself away though, I'd have just walked past and not seen him otherwise. There's going to be a lovely display of bluebells in this wood on my right shortly. Can't remember when this particular walk is posted to be done, but they are usually posted in such a way as to tie in with some aspect of nature, I think, if I remember correctly. Wonderful peacock there. Sun has brought it out and it's recharging its batteries now. I think this is a butterfly that hibernates during winter as opposed to coming out as a new chrysalis. A bit like a lizard, he's been brought out by the warm weather. And there you go, there's a sandy man. Sounds like feeding time. Certainly all gathering over by the Land Rover there. Listen to the rumpus. They spend all day feeding on grass and yet they're all rushing off to get extras. Your turn in a minute. Yes. Good grief, they've gone haywire. And they can't get across this dike, so they're going to have to wait their turn. Now I've noticed this lovely little, what colour is that? Very light lilac, really, in the boggy areas that I pass through, and there are a number of those where springs pop out. It's a wonderful little plant. Anyone know what that is? Interestingly positioned picnic table there in the middle of nowhere, inaccessible to the public. Now walking along what appears to be an old military track at the moment. There's another Gatwick jet takes position to land at Gatwick. Thought I could smell sewerage. Some beds down there on my right. Certainly in the flight path now. Looking back from a point near Scriventon. Not sure if that's a property name or a hamlet, but that's where I am on the map. Interesting old style here. Haven't seen one of those in years. Onward journey straight ahead there. Good to see that Kent County Council and Mr. Russlin are updating the many styles that still exist in this county. There's a new gate by the looks of it. So there you go. 5 more houses are planned in this valley. Absolutely going to destroy the countryside around here as well. Tunbridge Wells Borough Council. Absolutely shocking. So, if I was to leave this walk another 12 years, who knows how it may have changed again. Don't think I'd want to see it. As it is, it doesn't seem to have been too badly affected thus far. Let's see, still another 3.5 miles to go. And we're approaching the fringes of Tunbridge Wells, which is where it's likely to be happening. Couldn't get it on camera, but I've just seen my first orange tip butterfly of the season. So, must be a warm day. There it is. Beautiful. Gone. The biodiversity down here is so much better than on that walk I did the other week in the fens, eh? Well, that stile is broken and needs replacing with a gate. But unfortunately, I can no longer report this on Pathwatch because the bad news last week from the Ramblers was that they've given up the fight. The councils have won the battle at the moment in so much as you now have to report all of these kind of issues online, which is absolute madness, and I'm not going to accept that. A gadget held in your hand, as I had with Pathwatch, and as some of you viewers may have used, is so much superior. So I've now approached What 3 Words to see if they will have a look at Pathwatch and see what they can do with it. And their initial reaction was they can't do anything with it because they're a small company and haven't got the wherewithal or the finances to develop it. So I've had another go at What 3 Words, and they're now prepared to have a look at it if the Ramblers will release the information that they need to have a look at it. The Ramblers are going to take Pathwatch from Google Play and the Apple equivalent, so you won't be able to use it very, very soon. I'm told within the next couple of months. So absolutely ridiculous, because I could report that in 2 seconds on my mobile phone app, but to do so online is a right rigmarole. I mean, you've got to get the coordinates for starters, and you've got to wait till you get home and report it on your computer, and so on and so forth on a council website that is a waste of space. It's ridiculous. We're going back into the Stone Ages with that system. So let's not give up. Now following another pleasant lane up into Stockland Green. Now whilst moaning about Pathwatch and its demise, I do notice this here, which I dare say Mr. Rustling is behind. There's a scan QR code thing there, so I might give that a go and see how that works. But not all councils do it. We need a nationwide common system, but I will try this. See, this is ridiculous. Just about every stile I've been over today has been broken, and although that Q code thing would have dealt with that particular one, doesn't deal with all of them as Pathwatch would have done, or a similar kind of app. And when you get to the remotest of remote places, you need a handheld. So that's why we've got to succeed with this. Now on the Weald Way, believe it or not, and look at the state of it. There you go, Weald Way. Absolutely shocking. Come on, Mr. Rustling. This footpath runs alongside somewhere called David Salamon's house on the map, and as you can see, pretty overgrown. Again, I can't report it. Good vista through the hole in the hedge, mind you. Well, this footpath's no more than a gully. Probably a nightmare in the winter. Slip on that. So after tackling that rather overgrown footpath, you then emerge onto this lane where we take a right. So that's the location of the overgrown footpath next to this Salamon's Estate. Mill Farm Close. Now that little section of road walking from Salamon's Estate is actually very busy. So although it's only a couple of 100 yards, road users do not like walkers by the looks of it. As you can tell by all the flash motors, they're not that kind. So, and there was one of them. So we now take this path down here, which is also in keeping with the motorists really. Now I'm seeing a lot more rubbish, and a notice about fly tipping as well. So we must be getting very close to Royal Tunbridge Wells. At this juncture, don't go left. We're in, what's the name of this wood again? Can't remember. But you take a right here. Heading for Hurst Wood on the map. Walking through the pleasant mixed woodland of Hurst Wood as we enter Tunbridge Wells. Another good bluebell wood shortly. Walking along some very swish private roads in Tunbridge Wells. So we've finally reached Tunbridge Wells and Rustall Commons. Passing what are known as Wellington Rocks on my left. Google that if you're interested. Probably something similar to the ones at Eridge that were filmed on another walk many years back for the Saturday Walkers Club. So, leaving the commons behind us, it's now a bit of road walking and urban walking, so I probably won't film much now until I get to the station. Walking through the area known as the Pantiles. Tunbridge Wells is probably the most famous feature. And there you have the spring, the Challybeat Spring, 1606. And although you can Google it, there's a little bit of information about what pretty much made Royal Tunbridge Wells. There is the man. So with very little option to film outside the station, my journey's end, I thought I'd choose this point, seeing as there's a war going on out in Ukraine, appropriately. That was a decent walk, good return, 11.7 miles, 4 hours 29 minutes, half of the course. Decent, I don't remember much of it, but hey ho, memory's going as I age, and the old joints are responding accordingly as well. I haven't walked that far for a little while now, best part of 6 months anyway, so I need to get the rust out of the system. But that's book 1, walk 15, completed for a second time, and I didn't notice any real changes, although some are mooted, as we mentioned during the walk. So enjoy that one and have a happy Easter. Till the next time, I'm off to the opera.